Alright, here's a follow-up video to the last one I posted as far as getting a compact flash adapter working on a Naomi. I was testing it at a friend's house. Here I've got it in my Blast City, which is set for vertical orientation here, and this time I've got the sound hooked up. And I'm still using the same Naomi. The other one right there, that's the actual one that I have on a board. This one is going to go into this machine and live there full time. I got a little issue with the SCSI 2 cable. I didn't have one when I sold my GD-ROM unit. I sold the cable, so I just used some just generic SCSI 2 cables I got for used for $1 each. And the plastic housing is so big it pushes up on the connector. I don't like that stress. This one I sanded down so it's a better fit, but still you can see how tall this connector is. This thing, it won't clear when I slide this into the Blast because of the SCSI connector sticks up so high. So I've got a friend who's got a real one, a real Naomi SCSI 2 connector that he's gonna give to me, and they're a lower profile, so hopefully that'll take care of that. So this is the board that I tested at my friend's house, tested working. I got 2 boards because I have 2 Naomis. Alright, so this is the second board that I just finished building, same card that I used the first time. This one I'm powering a little bit different. The first one I had an actual Naomi power supply because I got that Naomi on a wooden board with the whole setup, the GD-ROM, the Naomi, the sound amplifier board, the transformer for the sound amplifier. This one here, instead of being powered by the Naomi power supply, is powered by my Blast City cabinet. I made a video about that earlier, where I showed that my cabinet did not come pre-wired for JVS. So I just looked at the pinouts of this I/O board that's in the Blast, and I wired up the power connectors for 5 volts, 12 volts, and 3.3 volts to hook to the Naomi. So what I'm doing on this one that's a little bit different is how I'm powering the compact flash unit. If you can see, CN12 is the connector on the maple board right here, the interface board for the Naomi. I looked online for about 20 minutes or so. I couldn't find a pinout for this other than it provides 5 volts. Well, it says right on the board 5 volts, but it doesn't say which of the 4 pins actually provides the 5 volts and which one is ground. So I just used a multimeter. I found that pins 1 and 2 were connected, pins 3 and 4 were connected, so I knew one was 5 volts, 2 of them were 5 volts, and the other 2 were ground. Powered up the unit, put a multimeter with the negative lead on one side, positive lead on the other, and I had negative 5 volts, which means I had them flipped the other way around. So I flipped them over, and I got positive 5 volts. So if anybody's wondering, the pinouts are pins 1 and 2 are 5 volts, 3 and 4 are ground. I'm using a red wire here simply because I had this connector on hand and it was already wired up with red, which is usually 12 volts. Instead of changing it to yellow, I just left it alone. So anyway, I'm powering the compact flash unit off of that. And although this setup is sitting here on the ground, this compact flash power cord I'm going to put on the one that's on the board. So it's all one board, slide out. The other power cord I was using for the other test will go with the other Naomi, actually this one here, and it'll still be a setup that I can put into any JAMA arcade game just by plugging the interface board into the JAMA harness, using the Naomi power supply, and using this cable that plugs into the Naomi power supply to provide 5 volts to the compact flash card. The compact flash card only needs 5 volts and ground, just 2 wires. I went ahead and wired all 4 just because the extra tension against the pins on the connector there will help hold it in place. Same thing over there. I just went ahead and ran all 4 wires. So there's an extra 5 volts and an extra ground, but they're not going anywhere on this board. It's not focusing very well here, but you can see that there's only 2 traces coming off of that 6-pin header. One's for ground, one's for 5 volts. So I just put the other ones in, other pins, just to help hold it in place. So yeah, so I think that's about it. This is a tri-sync monitor in this Blast City, so I've got a VGA cable. This has got stereo output, so I've got stereo lines going out of the Naomi into the amp that's built into this Blast City. This box here, you're probably saying, what the heck is that thing? That is a Sega JVS I board. I think I made another video earlier of me testing it, just sitting on the carpet here to make sure it worked. I went ahead and made a project box for it. So it's got USB in, and then on top it's got a JAMA connector coming out of a slot in the box. So all I do is plug my JAMA harness in. The JAMA harness has 5 volts going to it. That powers the JVS I/O. All the wires for the JVS I/O I wired to a fingerboard. That's what sticks out the back. So the power comes in to power the JVS I/O. All the button inputs and everything for the JVS I/O go out to the JAMA harness. So it's a nice little, just simple one box that you just connect the JAMA harness, the USB to the Naomi, and you've got all your buttons. The JVS I/O also has an analog controller if I want to use joysticks with pots. That's not wired up. If I wanted to do something with it in the future, I could open this project box and put a connector on there and hook it up. So that's what we got. This is a test of the second compact flash unit that I built, which worked fine. It loaded up the game. See if I can play a little one-handed under defeat here. There we go. So we got joysticks working, fire buttons working, bomb buttons working. So all the controls are working. The game loads off the compact flash instead of a GD-ROM. When I get everything set up over there, I'll have a simple one-board slide-in, slide-out solution. Well, one board plus the project box for the controls. And that's it. Successful test of the second compact flash unit.